Hi guys, this is Catherine Donovan. I got more on another true yet school horror story. And it's very true. Dealing with bullies, dealing with friends who weren't good enough. I made some new nice friends, but they didn't turn out to be right. One was just, she smelled bad, she was goofy, she had braces and buck teeth. And some of the teenage students were like calling her little brother, who was just a pudgy yet simple-minded person, someone who's gay, because I guess he interacts with male students, and they were all joking to the girl that, oh, your brother is gay. The brother is like a little boy who is overweight, and you're gonna call him gay? What the heck is your problem, people? He's a young boy. Why don't you just leave him alone? These students. One was even more obnoxious, and he just kept him like bullying me. And every time I tried to stand up for that girl, the guy would like say, oh, why don't you just shut up, and just laugh at my reaction. I was just like, jerk. There were just so many bullies, so many people. And that same girl with her friends, they acted like a posse, like the Mean Girls posse, like glorifying them. I was like, are you serious? Why would you want to glorify a bunch of Mean Girls? Well, Mean Girls was a pretty much of a comedy, like a chick flick. Still, like, looking at this movie makes me think of my bullied days and just think about how horrible these girls are, even though it was supposed to be a comedy, but still, it was just so bad. It just made me think of high school. Actually, I never really like chick flicks anymore because I hated, well, just the whole idea of princes and all. I guess in my childhood, and also with my dad, I stopped believing in fairy tales. But I've already made my own fairy tales. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, what happened was, these posse-like girls were also really backstabbing, two-timing me, being jerks, being pushy, and just breaking the limits. And we had a new computer teacher who was a bit of a jerk-ass himself, even though he started off nice, but then he turned out to be a jerk. He humiliated me after I was researching on Pokemon, which that's not what the school's topic, and he had to say it out loud, humiliating me. And now all of my female friends are making fun of me and thinking that I like Pokemon, but I swear I didn't, but they didn't believe me. But that part about Pokemon is for another time. But I was bullied for it, and also they treated me indifferently. I was like, are you serious? What the heck is wrong with you? And they said how Pokemon was retarded. I just wanted to beat their faces in. I mean, how could they go and bully me when it was for a different reason, and I didn't really like Pokemon so much, but I was just growing up into a teenager and being confused, didn't know what to do, didn't understand. I was also going through the changes of me being a woman and having these, you know when you start off as a teenager, you like when you're hormonally change, or when you get whatever, and you start getting these desirable fantasies in your head. Yeah, I was going through that. But here's the thing, I never really lost my little cherry self, if you know what I'm saying. I was actually a good girl. Even though I had my behavioral issues, but I was a good girl. I never smoked, I never drank, I never had a boyfriend or never really had sex. And here's the thing, the whole sex idea was rather repulsive towards me, even though I do want to have a relationship, but just seeing sex on TV just made me cringe a bit, because I don't know. But you know what? I'd rather not talk about that part. But anyway, I wasn't like one of those rebellious kids. I became a bully myself, and I actually lash out at people because these people were being a bad influence on me, and I regretted it. It was just so bad. And then one thing that really tore me up was that on my way to the school, I was talking with my mom. I can't remember what it was, but I remember talking with her one day, and all of a sudden, we arrived at my school, and I hugged her goodbye, gave her a kiss on the cheek, and I called out, "Bye, Mom," and she's like, "Bye, honey, I love you, I'll see you later." I go, "Okay." And as soon as I got in, I just couldn't. The conversation we had was just genuinely special. And all of a sudden, I realized I don't want to be at the school anymore. I want to go home. I hated it here. I absolutely, positively hated it. And I started crying. Because, I felt like a little girl. I felt like a little girl hugging her teddy bear and standing in the doorway and saying, "Mommy, Mommy." And just, it was really heartbreaking. It was really tough, and I started crying. I locked myself in the bathroom and started crying because I didn't want to be at the school. And also, like, we were stuck in the study hall, which I did not want to sit. I mean, I got all my work done and stuff. I did work on my homework for a bit, but sometimes I didn't feel like it and decided I wanted to do it when I got home. I ended up reading this one book about it was based off of This Little Piggy, but it was just 5 pigs. And there was one part in there, I remember, was when this one second piggy, the one that stayed home, was trying to get ready for school, but made a terrible accident. All of the little piglet siblings laughed, and the poor pig was crying out to his mom. And his mom said, "Maybe you should stay home, just for today." And when the little sibling pigs got home, I can't believe I'm saying this to you guys, the one that got to stay home said that they, together with his mom, they managed to have a lot of things fun today, which the piglets found unfair. The next day, they got themselves into a few accidents, and they begged their mother to stay home, and she let them. But the whole idea of that little pig crying for his mommy, I couldn't help but cry. And I actually kept that book with me, and I managed to bring it back when nobody saw it. I hated the school. I absolutely hated it, and there was nothing I could do to change. Even though I was struggling and dealing with my dad on some horrible days, I absolutely hated it. And then was this one day where part of me had a bit of a stomach ache, but at the same time, I didn't want to go to school. And my mom woke me up and asked me if I was awake, and I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, just a few more minutes for you to get up. I just want you to get up. And I managed to fake an illness by saying I had a stomach ache. And I managed to cover it up, but I knew my mom knew I was lying about being sick. But to tell you the truth, well, I was just enjoying being able to stay home from school. I couldn't help but feel guilty. I couldn't help but wonder, why couldn't I tell Mom about it? Why couldn't I tell her that I was being bullied and I wasn't happy there? I just couldn't get it. And around my 14th birthday, oh man, I was sick on that day and I kept throwing up. But I had a really good birthday. But when I got back to school after my 14th birthday, I managed to tell people, oh, my birthday was yesterday. And people were like, sure, whatever. I was like, really? I was just angry. I'm like, yesterday was my birthday? And when I told you guys, you didn't even wish me a happy birthday? I was like, you're all jerks. But anyway, just thinking about this school, I just didn't like it there anymore. One day, my dad managed to pick me up from school, but I wasn't feeling the least bit happy because I hated that school so much. My dad began to notice. Then he asked if I wanted to go to a different school. I was really excited to hear this. I was like, yeah, sure. Dealing with the kids, bullying other kids, bullying me, dealing with the teachers that couldn't even help, not even the administrator. I felt like maybe I could start over again at a different school in the state of Florida. Part of me was wrong about that, but it managed to turn out better, for the most part. Ever since my mom and I would go out and be near that school, sometimes I asked her if we could drive by the building. She knew how I felt, so I would look at it, remember all the things that happened, and I tell her, okay, let's get out of here before anyone notices us. So we managed to drive away. I never went back to that school again, and I never will. Atlanta and Woodin, Kent were the worst schools I went to, especially Christie. Now it makes me wonder, are all these schools like this? I don't know. Well, that's gonna end things there. Thank you very much for listening and watching. See you next time.